13 reasons why you don't want kids. Hey, I'm Emma and I'm telling it like it is, with a lot of sarcasm and a little exaggeration. So, before some of you label me as some kind of kid hater, please note that I've worked with kids for several years. I've basically single-handedly raised the equivalent of 3 kids, so I've made my contribution in perpetuating a race, or whatever. Click that subscribe or like button if you love my outrageous content, and I guess I'll just keep being me. So, 13 reasons why you don't want kids. 1. Kids are deadly to themselves. Why have kids when their subconscious mission is to off themselves? Before some of you start arguing with me, look, have you ever seen an excited toddler? It's a scientific law worthy of its very own theorem. The more excited a kid gets, the more crazy stunts they try to pull off. It doesn't come down to, would you jump off a cliff if your friends did? Toddlers don't see adults jumping off cliffs, but they'll do it. And at that size, a cliff could be anything. Hide your chairs, sofas, staircases, tables, cabinets, fountains, fireplaces, counters. Wait, do you have any furniture left? Look, why fight the inevitable? Save yourself from hours in the ER or a hypervigilant state. Trade it for a nice glass of wine in a bubble bath. Which, by the way, would be misconstrued as bad parenting, because God forbid you have alcohol in the same house as your kids. What were you thinking, Helen? Jeez. 2. Toys that make noise. Enough said. 3. Kids aren't all raised the same. You think about that bundle of joy you'll soon be raising, and you think about how you want to raise them, what you agreed upon with your partner, what you read in those parenting books that all contradict each other. Then you're swept into the rat race of parenting, where those ideals are sometimes reminisced about, but mostly you're just acting on your feet. And you have those other parents or even non-parents look at you with judgment and condemnation if your child so much as sniffles in public. Because an unhappy child is definitely an abused child. And nobody approves of abusive parenting. Look, parenting is basically a misunderstood, unpaid job with way too many bosses. Worse, you have to pay to work. This brings us to 4. Kids are expensive. Anyone who has had house guests, holla, you know what I mean. Toilet paper, laundry, food, you run out of it all so fast. Well, except the laundry part. And these guests aren't even growing humans. Think of how much food a teenager guy eats. You could say, oh, I'll worry about that later. Smaller equals less consumption, right? I say diapers. This isn't a house guest for 2 hours, 2 days, or 2 weeks. This is a house guest you'll have for 20 years. If you're lucky. Plus, for most of that time, they don't even contribute by bringing money to the table. And or you'll feel bad for asking them to contribute by doing chores. And then you'll have raised another kid who has no clue how to clean or cook. I've had them as roommates, and I'm forever grateful to their parents. Not. 5. Kids steal your sleep. Let's go through all the stages of development on this one, shall we? Babies. They have no concept of day or night, much less nighttime equals sleep time. Toddlers. Still don't get the concept, determined to prove it wrong. Kids. Night terrors, nightmares, monsters under the bed, in the closet, in their brain. Teens. Now there's the monster called worry in your brain. Are they out doing drugs? Are they safe? Are they sleeping with the bimbo next door? Hours and hours of fun and joy and no sleep for you. Guaranteed. 6. Kids use kid logic. Now, for those of you who don't know what kid logic is, oh, you are in for some good times. You think you can reason with a kid? You think you can convince a child of something? Be prepared to lose the battle, maybe even the war. Case in point, I used to be a stay-away camp counselor. I thought this would be a breeze. After all, I had taught kids dance for years. How hard could this be? Well, one of my campers got a yeast infection because she refused to change her underwear. I hadn't realized I was supposed to be checking that they were changing their underwear daily. Did she refuse to change her underwear at home? Apparently, all the time. Did she care she had an infection? Not at all. Thanks, kid logic. You truly know how to kick someone until they're down. Did the camper change her mind? Who knows? How was I supposed to actually check in a non-creepy way? Gotta love kid logic. 7. Kids are commitment. Okay, so picture this. I used to work at an amusement center for kids where people had bracelets identifying them into groups. So, in theory, a kid couldn't leave with the wrong person. A parent's worst nightmare. Or is it? Because I'd explain the bracelet system to the parents, and then I'd be joking, saying, yeah, that way you can exchange or return your kid. I cannot tell you how many parents died laughing. And the ones who didn't, well, I blame that on a language barrier, or the fact that their soul has been so deadened by kid logic that they can't even manage to smile. Kid logic, the silent killer. I'm telling you. So no, you cannot return or exchange a child. That's usually a rest of your life type of commitment, even more than marriage. Oops. I'm also assuming that you'll outlive your kid, unless your kid throws himself off that cliff. Then all bets are off. 8. The mess. Do you know how messy kids are? Like, seriously, watch any kid eat, and you'll see what I mean. If they're not playing with their food, they are dismantling their sandwich, or that dollhouse you just bought them, or your peace of mind, every single time. 9. Kids are trouble. Just saying, kids have imaginations, and with imagination comes mischief. A grocery aisle becomes a bowling lane. A subway floor becomes lava. Food at a restaurant becomes artillery for an epic battle. And this is just the ideas from a dried up adult mind. If there's some friends that are an embarrassment to take out in public, think of all the nonsense a kid can and will do. Not to mention accidentally spilling things, knocking things over, or stealing. Even if your kid knows better, kids exist to test limits, because apparently that's how they grow or stop growing, as the case may be. Just saying, curiosity killed the cat, and curiosity for the world around them is exactly why kids get into trouble. Like a dog that gets its nose stuck in a mousetrap, they just don't know any better, and you have the pleasure of trying to teach them that. Good luck! 10. Kids don't automatically love you. If you want unconditional love, you are looking in the wrong place, my friend. Remember, you chose to have them, not the other way around. The only exception to that rule seems to be pets. You ration their Halloween candy, they hate you. You tuck them into bed, they kick you. You change their diapers, they pee on you. Talk about ingratitude. Even when they're old enough to know better, you hit that beautiful stage of adolescence. It's only when they move out and realize all you did for them that then you might get the acknowledgement you deserve. Doubt it? Think about how you treated your parents for one long, hard minute. Then come back to me on that one. No, but really. 11. Kids are fickle. Gotta love kids and their change of hearts. You buy their Halloween costume a month in advance because they want to be a fairy. And then, October 30th, they've decided to be a doctor. You organize me time when they're going to their BFF slumber party, and you find out an hour before the party that they are now enemies. You get them a cat, but now they want a dog, like Bianca, who was their enemy 2 days ago. Certainly, kids are bound to spice up your life, and whether you like flying by the seat of your pants is definitely on you. But who actually wants unnecessary drama? Raise your hand if you do. I'm looking around. I'm not seeing any hands. Just saying. 12. Kids will hurt you. Look, it's not all intentional, but hey, abuse happens. Have you seen a baby with a beard? Ladies, if you're really going through with this, chop off your hair while you're pregnant. You're welcome. But it's not only babies. Parents get kicked, punched, abused by their children. I saw a kid who freaked out going down a hill because he didn't remember that the brakes of his new bike were off the pedals and on the handlebar. His mom put herself between him and oncoming traffic. Human shield. Lots of pain all around. Not soon forgotten. At least not by me, anyways. Now, onto the emotional pain. Yay! Kids lie, say hurtful things, yell at you, not to mention the pain you'll feel when you see that they're upset about something, crying, getting bullied, give up, fail. Look, this is a being you hopefully had to nurture. What do you do when nurture isn't enough? Because hey, we both know what the real world's like. Okay, on to the next point before this gets too depressing. Yeah. 13. Kids are noisy. Look, if you're anything like me, you like your peace and quiet. You want your peace and quiet. And children don't come with mute buttons. Especially babies. I hear a baby crying and my first instinct is to run away. How counterintuitive is that? And do not get me started on toys that make noise. So, I'm kind of glad YouTube wasn't around when my parents thought about having me. If you love my hypocrisy or my sense of humor, like or subscribe or do both. And tell me below, what's the best baby name out there? Might end up using it someday.